Welcome to the Big Four Accounting Firms podcast, brought to you by big4accountingfirms.com and the Big Four Accounting Firms YouTube channel. Before we get started, just wanted to remind everybody to support us if you have a chance or if you can. Even $1 helps, and we have a link in the description to a website called Buy Me a Coffee. It's just a way to donate to us and support us. Again, any amount is helpful so that we can keep putting out content. And there's also other ways for you to support us in the show notes to this podcast or on YouTube in the description. In today's podcast, we're going to talk about E&Y and some governmental work that they won. They announced the launch of E&Y Vaccine Management Solution on February 2nd, 2021. And they're going to help manage Ernst & Young is going to help manage secure, safe, and equitable distribution process of COVID-19 vaccines. The solution is built on multiple Microsoft technologies, Azure Dynamics 365, Power BI, and Power Platform. And all that means is this stuff's going to be in the cloud, and they're going to use things like Excel with dashboards to help manage it. And they're going to do this with supply chain visibility and allocation analytics into vaccine distribution. And this solution will support federal, state, and local governments, commercial healthcare systems, and manufacturers in implementing and supporting the vaccine provisioning process. Its components include providing in-depth communication plans, registration capabilities for patients and providers, phase scheduling for vaccinations, reporting and management dashboarding with analytics and forecasting. That's what I was speaking about before. And establishing command and emergency response centers. E&Y US, where this is going to take place, has begun implementation of vaccine management solution in Georgia, helping state public health officials enable the distribution process and alleviate provider management, inventory management, call center activation, and allocation strategy challenges, and is prepared to launch engagements in Tennessee and Oklahoma. Brad Duncan, who is a principal at Ernst & Young in the U.S. government and public sector, says, through our alliance with Microsoft, we will provide state and local governments with technological enablement for their vaccination efforts. Enablement that encompasses all aspects of this intricate process, including distribution, procurement, logistics, and tracking. We understand the significance of this effort and believe that this collaboration with Microsoft will not only have a positive societal impact, but help to reframe our future post-pandemic. If that day ever comes, that's my part right there. In addition to vaccine communications, program management, and compliance capabilities, the E&Y Vaccine Management Solution offers an experience portal that allows for streamlined enrollment to benchmark vaccine storage and throughput. Further, the solution's robust supply chain capability will help clients balance the vaccine demand curve with available supply using intelligent forecasting. This holistic approach to large-scale vaccine management helps accelerate the success of this critical processes. In addition, E&Y US developed the EY Vaccine Analytics Solution, an integrated COVID-19 data and analytics tool supporting stakeholders in understanding the population and geography-specific vaccine uptake. It is designed to be the cornerstone of long-term effective planning and execution across the vaccine value chain. I'm not sure how a vaccine has a value chain, but okay. By leveraging real-time insights and Microsoft Cloud technologies, these EY solutions address the complexities and challenges across the COVID vaccine administration and enable public health agencies and healthcare providers to safely and proficiently manage the distribution of the now and soon-to-be available vaccines, while supporting our clients' compliance with applicable health and data privacy laws. Now, this is interesting. It's what I've spoken about in the past of the Big Four accounting firms winning a ton of governmental work coming out of COVID-19. And this is why it's so important that they tie themselves closely with the World Economic Forum and Microsoft and Bill Gates. Bill Gates isn't the CEO of Microsoft anymore, but he's still very closely tied to it. He's very closely tied into vaccines. So they're probably holding the keys to the kingdom as far as access to vaccine work. And also E&Y is taking advantage of Deloitte's mishaps, because Deloitte has gotten a lot of state COVID-19 work, but they've had a lot of issues with data privacy, with rollout. So E&Y is going to try their hand at it. And what this really sounds like here is just the tech people at E&Y, they put it together a dashboard really quick showing available vaccines and a trajectory, right? A trajectory of use of vaccines. And they showed that to the states, and that's how they sold it. Because it's very easy, especially if you use Tableau, but I'm sure Power BI has the same things. I've used Tableau more than I've used Power BI. They have the ability to spin up these dashboards really quick, and it makes it seem like you wrote your own software program, but you actually just threw together a really quick dashboard. And so that's what E&Y is really doing here, and that's what they've done. And it's also a good way for these states to shift liability off their books and put it on the big four accounting firms, because the states have no idea how to do this. Obviously, in the United States, everybody's pointing the finger at each other, at the federal government, at the prior president, etc. And so now they're shifting it onto E&Y. But E&Y doesn't have any knowledge of vaccine distribution. They've never done this before. Nobody's ever done this before. But they've spun up their Power BI and their analytics to show how this works. And they're using all the key buzzwords. But they got those key buzzwords from the ESG stuff that they've been working on and the World Economic Forum. And that's going to be key in the future to win government to work, federal and state. So I just thought this news was pretty interesting. And a lot of the big four accounting firms' work in these coming years is going to be governmental work around the world related to pandemics and governmental spending and regulation and this equitable stuff. Not only that, but we've been talking about climate change. There's so much progressive governmental stuff going on where they're spending all this extra money because the pandemic set off this whole governmental state, right? Where it's not only shutting down the economy, it's managing a pandemic. Now we have vaccines. And on top of that, we have social justice and climate change. And they all decided to go all in on this stuff all at once. And there's tons of governmental work. We've already seen it with Deloitte, where Deloitte's won hundreds of millions of dollars with unemployment benefits. And now it's moving into vaccine management. E&Y has won this work. They spun out a new service and product related to it. And I'm sure there's only more to come. And Deloitte will get in on it, PwC, KPMG. They'll all have to do the same thing. Because this is hundreds of millions of billions of dollars globally that they could miss out on. But that's also why they get involved with partnering with Microsoft, partnering with the World Economic Forum, pushing the ESG stuff. There's just so much money to be made right now. And if you want to make partner really quick, you better get very knowledgeable about all these global initiatives that are getting pushed right now. So that's the podcast for today. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast and support us financially through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the show notes to this podcast. Also, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like this video on our YouTube channel. Thanks for listening.